I woke up to check on Joshua every night as I usually do, but this night was different. He's missing! Why do the children of billionaires always go missing? I said to myself frantically. I had been working as a babysitter for the past 10 years, and I thought I had seen it all until I began working with the Washington family. Hi, my name is Amanda. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when new videos are uploaded. If you do, you have a great chance of finding a bag of cash in the near future. When my agency assigned me to this family, I had my doubts, especially since I was not notified that it was the Washington family, the largest mob family within the area. Well, that's the rumor anyway. Joshua, the child that I was taking care of, was 12 years of age. The first few days I expected to find frogs on my bed and snakes in my drawer, especially since I had an adjoining room next to his. But he was nothing like some of the rich kids that I had taken care of. My job was fairly easy since I didn't have to run behind him picking up toys. My duties included getting him to class with his tutors on time, helping with homework, and staying with him at all times to make sure that he was safe. Based on what I knew about him, he loved animals and wanted to be a doctor when he grew up so he could help people. He got to classes on time, did his homework, he even went to bed when he was told. This was the easiest babysitting job that I ever had. Hi, Amanda. I hope that Joshua isn't giving you too much trouble, Mrs. Washington said. He's a great kid, I replied. Mrs. Washington and I will be going out of the country for 2 weeks. All we ask is you keep an eye on Joshua to make sure he doesn't get into any trouble, Mr. Washington said in an authoritative voice. That was the last thing Mr. Washington told me, and here I stood in front of the bed his son was supposed to be sleeping in. The bed was here, but the son was not. Nothing unusual happened that night to indicate that Joshua was upset and needed to blow off steam. As usual, I instructed Joshua to go to bed that night, and he did. I was frantic. I ran through the mansion, opening doors, calling down the dimly lit hallway. Joshua, are you there? I made it down to the kitchen where Martha, the cook, was cleaning up the kitchen for the night. Have you seen Joshua? I asked, my eyes wide with terror. I did not want to think about what would happen to me if something happened to Joshua. I haven't seen Joshua since dinner, but I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. She smiled at me. Not worry? Joshua is missing. How could I not be worried? I threw my hands up in the air helplessly. If you're worried about Mr. Washington, don't be. I've been working with the man for years, and under all the rough, tough exterior, he's a big teddy bear, Martha said. Yeah, a big teddy bear that's gonna do more than smack me on the head, I thought. He'll be back in the morning. The best thing you could do is go back to bed and get a good night's rest. Joshua is a great kid, and you, my dear, don't have anything to worry about. Martha was right. I had no choice but to wait it out and see. It's not like I could go to the police because then Mr. and Mrs. Washington would be contacted, and I really didn't want that. The last 3 months working there had actually been great, and it wasn't like anything I expected. Maybe everything I heard about the Washingtons were rumors, but I really didn't want to find out the hard way. I returned to Joshua's room and I decided to sit in the chair next to his bed and wait until he got home. He had some explaining to do. I woke up the next morning and realized that Joshua's bed was made, but he wasn't in it. Damn it, did he even come home? I jumped up from the bed and ran to the kitchen as though someone was chasing me. There, Joshua sat having breakfast by the kitchen counter, having a conversation with Martha. I looked at him and at Martha, who smiled at me. Good morning. Did you sleep well? She asked. She had that I told you look in her eyes. I decided that there and then wasn't the time or place to drill Joshua about where he had been the night before. I walked out of the kitchen and went to get ready for the day. Why did Joshua disappear last night? Where did he go? Why didn't he try this stunt when his parents were around? I had too many questions and no answers. I needed answers before I had to speak to Mr. Washington. That night, I did the same routine. I instructed Joshua to go to bed, which he did without complaint. I got dressed, sneakers and all, and put my robe on and went to bed and waited. Sure enough, I heard my door creak open, then close. I jumped up and slowly opened the adjoining door to see Joshua climbing out of the window. And where do you think you're going? I said to myself as I quickly pulled off my robe. I felt my inner private eye emerge, and I quickly made it downstairs and out the front door just in time to see Joshua running across the estate. I followed Joshua. It's a good thing I had many years running down toddlers, so I was able to keep up at a safe distance so I would not be spotted. I watched as Joshua dodged between two bushes and disappeared. I quickly followed. There were 2 bars that had been cut to make an escape route. I squeezed myself between the bars and followed. He walked until he reached the shabbier part of town until he came to a narrow alley. I continued to lurk from the shadows. He stopped in front of a red door. I watched as he knocked on the door. A slot in the door opened and Joshua looked around before whispering something to the person on the other side. The door opened and Joshua disappeared into the room. I couldn't leave there without Joshua, but I also didn't want to cause him harm either. I needed reinforcements, so I called a good friend of mine, Tony Burton. I told him about what was happening and he said he would be right there. "So what's the deal with this kid?" Tony asked as we sat in the van close to the alleyway. It was a dead end, so Joshua only had one way to get out of the alley. "Why doesn't his father just hire a bodyguard for him anyway?" Tony asked. "Well, for starters, I think all the rumors about the Washington family are false. I've been working there for months and I haven't seen a henchman or even so much as a gun. All I know is something is going on with this kid and I need to get to the bottom of it," I said. It was about 4 a.m. when we